I've got to make a confession, guys. These Polynians right here, I like them. If you can't tell by now, they're some of my favorite figures. And with the end of the year approaching so quickly, I think it's a fair time to go back and look at all the Polynian that we have and all the designs that have been released and decide what's best. So what a better way than to create a tier list? Obviously, this is a popular way of ranking things, and since I have every single Polynian that's been created, I think I have some basis to judge them. Now, there are some other Polynians we don't yet have, so let me go over the rules here. We're going to be going over all of the concepts. The idea is that we are judging the design and the actual Polynian in and of itself, rather than judging the figure, because let me tell you, while I love some designs, some of the figures don't hold up, but still, the idea of them is what makes them great for me. And additionally, there are a few that we're not going to judge, such as the garage kit of the original Clover and Shamrock. Not the alternate color, but the renewed version of Yume, where they redid her paints and stuff like that, because again, that's more so the figure and less the actual design. So Shamrock has remained consistent all the way through, as has Clover, despite the multiple iterations. And that's pretty much it. Let's go over the tiers, because that's important too. S tier is God tier. Of course, it's the top one. Now, this is going to be reserved for my all-time favorite Polynian that exists right now. A tier is still phenomenal. This is exactly what it sounds like. A is the highest grade you can get. S is just that extra level of godliness. So A is still really, really strong. B is going to be pretty darn good. It's not a bad rating at all, because honestly, I can't say enough bad things about a lot of these designs. So that's the thing, is B's gonna be, it's not the first, but it sure ain't the worst. C is where we're gonna get a little funny here, because while this doesn't mean that I dislike it, it will probably mean that I'm lukewarm on it. I'm not exactly the most excited about this one. And finally, D is going to be the worst thing that I can say about any of these Polynian, which isn't much. Again, I don't have the worst things to say about it. A lot of times it comes down to color scheme and stuff like that. You'll see soon. So yeah, D is the meanest that I'll be, and even still, it doesn't necessarily mean that I hate the thing. It just means that it's not as strong as the other ones. So it's definitely the weakest of the tiers. Now, I'm also trying to get this done as soon as possible, because this is the second time I've recorded this video. So you haven't heard that in a while, then get ready to hear it now, because that is absolutely the case, and I am so upset with myself. But that's besides the point. Let's begin. So we're gonna get a safe bet out of the way first, and let's go ahead and just throw Shamrock up into S tier. Is there really anything that I need to explain here? Part of me kind of doesn't even want to do this because it's such an obvious thing, but since he was one of the first, let's get him out of the way, because throughout all the releases, Shamrock has remained strong. I'm not doing these in order, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get something obvious out of the way by saying this. Shamrock is one of the best. If anything, Shamrock could probably be blamed for the descent into robosexuality for many of us. We first saw this adorable boy, him and Clover, and man, it was so easy to fall in love. These two are great. Of course, Shamrock is the one we're looking at right now. And yeah, there's really not enough I can say about just how great he is. And let me be fair here, because I'm straight. But Shamrock is adorable. There's really not much else you can say. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say about Shamrock, because it's an easy one. I don't even really need to explain myself. You understand just as well as I. But let's move on to, not in order again, but let's just get something else obvious out of the way. I'm going to throw Rosa, the dominatrix style robot, up into S tier as well. We're not wasting any time here. We're going right for the strong ones, maybe some of the strongest, just to get these out of the way, because obviously if anybody knows me and they've watched these reviews, they know what I gave these things. And is it really any surprise? Have you seen Rosa? She's absolutely stunning. And the thing about it is that it's not even a fan service angle for me. A lot of people would see her and think, wow, look at that chest. Or wow, look at her butt. All that stuff. Sure, yeah, she's hefty, she's thick, and she's absolutely gorgeous. But that's not exactly it for me. It's not my monkey brain telling me, God, there's nice round bits on her, you're attracted to that. No, it's absolutely not that, because I said in my review that there's something almost regal about her. Sure, you could sit here and say that she's wearing this dominatrix style outfit, and she's kind of skanky, but honestly, I think she's gorgeous. From a design standpoint, there's just so much unique about her. Despite her being, yes, another FLL model, she still stands out quite a bit from the rest. From the hair sculpt to the body and what she's wearing and those extra little pieces of red and the finishing in black, everything. So much about this just really screams out, just different and unique. And that's pretty much where I want to stop, because I'll sit here and talk about her all night if I'm allowed to. Seriously, Rosa is one of the very best. I absolutely love her. So the next one we're going to do here might be a shocker for some because of how much I like this robot, but I'm going to take Gray Flesh Mel and throw her into D tier. I'm being as mean as I can here. This is as mean as I can be. If I don't do something mean, I'm not going to have anything in D tier. Honestly, I could probably combine C and D, but we're not going to do that. D, Mel, Gray Flesh. It's not that I dislike Mel, because I actually really love Mel's design. She was one of the first Polynian that I gave a really, really strong rating to that wasn't like the originals. And honestly, it holds through to today. I love the design on this, but I think that the color combination on this is just so wrong. Somehow the white bathing suit I feel looks better on regular Mel, and all of her additional accessories in yellow and orange, they look awful casted with the gray skin and the blue hair. Although I do like the blue of the hair, and I like the orange highlights, it just looks bad with the white suit and the gray skin. I don't know, I just really don't like this one that much when I really think about it. So yeah, some people might think that's harsh, but that's just the way that I see things. Next, however, we're gonna do a random one. So, Polynian Unison Demu. Demu is, of course, from Toho. And as a person who's not the hugest fan of Toho, I was still able to really appreciate her design. I like this one quite a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw her in B tier. I really like her, but I don't know if she's like one of the very best. And again, as a figure, that's not what we're talking about here. But I will say as a figure, she was terrible. But still, there's so much about this that I love. From the new dress, to the weapons, to the little cards, there's a lot of unique design put into this. And yes, it is an adaptation of another character, but they did it in a way where it seems like their own version. Very much so. It seems different enough to the point where it's definitely not just a carbon copy of Demu, which I think was great. They really did make it a Polynian rather than just a reskin or something like that. And using so much different new stuff that they made specifically for this design was really interesting. They really went full throttle in trying to adapt this in a way that was unique, and I think they succeeded immensely. I really like this one quite a bit. So with that one out of the way, let's do one related to it that's a little bit weird because most people probably don't even know about it. Marisa, who will be the other Toho Unison Polynian that we haven't gotten. I'm not sure if she was canceled or what, but she would be a good counterpart for Demu. We never got her yet, but it was a confirmed design. I'm gonna throw her in C. And you may be thinking, well, surely you can't be so harsh, but let's take a look at her. A lot of it just comes down to the fact that she is adapting the Demu design and just basically putting it in black and white and taking some away, really. She doesn't quite have as many frills as Demu, and of course it could turn out better because this is just like a regular design sketch, so it could be better when we got it in hand and saw all the different stuff they could do with it, and they could certainly change it more, but right now I think it's kind of plain. The hat's cool, and I do like the hair sculpt, and that broom is really cool as well. And thematically, all the colors go really well. Black, white, yellow, it's pretty much all that's in there. And then there's those accents of green in her hair bow and in the broom, which all works really well. But there's just something about it that's a bit boring. I don't even dislike this one. I would honestly say she's probably about a B, but I still think Demu is so much better than her in design that I'm going to give her the one up. But I would be interested to see this as a figure. I would definitely buy it. I bet most of you didn't even know that that figure existed. Well, I guess the figure doesn't exist, but you probably didn't know about that design. So what do you think? So with a weird one and some safe ones out of the way and some random ones, let's go ahead and talk about the next one, which will be Rusio, or Rusi. Someone who I like quite a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and throw him in A tier. And I know you may be thinking, what, why? Why would you give him an A? Well, it does even out what we currently have here, but that's not the reason I did it. I actually love Lucio, or Ruscio, however you want to say his name. He was one of the original boys to come out, him and Emir, of course, but I really liked him quite a bit. He certainly seemed a bit more masculine and just kind of a cute, young, kind of rascal of a boy. Of course, he has the female adaptation as well, which is really cute. I like both forms quite a bit, but all of his fun little water guns and his neat little life vest looking thing with his little tag on it, his hair is super cool, very unique. He has one of the best faceplates in the fact that he has that adorable, like, sparkly-eyed smile, that one there. That's so awesome, and that's such a great pose. Yeah, this one was just a lot of fun. He kind of had that skimpiness going on, but it wasn't that bad. Like, there it looks crazy, but normally it's not super crazy to see his bulge. Can't say that about the later adaptation for the color variant, but this one's awesome. The hair is so bright and vibrant. It goes great with those black accents in there. And all the colors here just work for me. This one really reaches out and grabs your attention in a great way, a very unique way. I can't really think of anything bad to say about him, and I'd like to put him in S tier, but maybe he's just not that great. I like him a lot, but let's not get too out of hand here. Let's talk about an OG, because this one was one of the first, and Polynian, or Daibadi rather, uses this one as their image online for a lot, so she's pretty important to the brand. This one takes a lot of shutting out the fact that I hate the way the figure worked. The original one, that is. I'm not sure how the renewal is, but it's actually great. The design on her is a lot of fun. She was the first one to give us Robopantsu. She's the original schoolgirl. She's gonna get an A. I can't really give her anything less. I do like her design quite a bit. Like, looking at her right now, despite what I know about the figure and how so many schoolgirls came after her, on her own, she has a fun and interesting design. Like, let's just take a look at her here, because those colors are absolutely amazing. The only thing that I don't like is the orange. I don't think that fits the orange that's in her sword, but everything else about her works so well. The blue and white contrast perfectly with that magenta hair. That hair is so good looking in these photos here too. But yeah, I like this color scheme a lot. I think that the outfit actually matching her body doesn't hurt her at all. I think the pink panties are a lot of fun. Again, the orange in the sword isn't quite my cup of tea, but everything else about her is just great. Even that little green bit in her hair is really cute too. And yeah, again, this is one that's hard to find anything bad to say about the design itself. It's really cute, and especially if you're into schoolgirl type stuff, which isn't really my bag, but still I can appreciate what we were given here. And what we were given is a wonderful design, and this was really when it started to really grab me as far as character design went, because this one was definitely different than the originals that just kind of were naked. So yeah, and Robopantsu, how can you hate? But let's go for Gray Flesh Iana, because she's kind of a big deal in the fact that she was the first alternate color of an FLL. And so far as I can tell, she's one of the only so far. But Gray Flesh is kind of a tricky one, because if you don't get the colors right, I feel like it can really hurt. And she's already highlighted. She's gonna go in D. Despite her being an FLL, it's not enough. Some people are gonna think I'm crazy for this, but something about her colors just doesn't work for me. I don't really like the pink hair with the gray flesh, and even when I look at her in person, the figure looks pretty good. But in theory, it's just not quite enough. The blue in her hair doesn't really match with the pink, I don't think, either. Something about this color just rubs me the wrong way. I don't mind the gray flesh Polynians. I think they're actually really good looking, and they're a good idea, but you gotta nail that color combination, and something about this one just doesn't really work for me. I don't really think I like it that much. And again, I'm being as mean as I can to these Polynians. But we're gonna go to the immediate opposite, and I'm gonna tell you about the original Thick Mama FLL Iana. She's a goddess, she's a queen, and she's getting an A. And you might think, well, that's kind of crazy. You talked all this trash about Gray Iana. They're totally different beasts. Regular Iana works so well with her color combination. The white contrasts so well to that somewhat desaturated mint green, and the blue in her hair and eyes works with her hair. They don't have to be bouncing off of one another. They don't have to be completely contrasted. I actually like this color combo. it doesn't work on the gray one. The white offsetting those bright colors and even the darkness of some of the color really, really does help her stand out. It's actually really difficult for me to not give her an S because she really is just delicious. And not only did we get a giant chest, we got a nice big rear on her, as well as thick thighs. And I gotta be honest, all that just spells MILF. And Robo-MILF, come on, dude. Like, even the hair design is just kind of motherly and cutesy. And if I allow myself to sit here and just gush about her, we'll be here all night. So let's move on. Let's now change our gaze over to one of the boys. Alvin's color variant, Ivy. Now, this one focuses, I guess, more on the female version. Regardless, I do quite like Alvin, though Ivy is gonna get a C from me. And that's kind of mean. Like, you'll find out what I think of Alvin later, but something about Ivy, while she does look great, just doesn't really click for me. And I think it's the color combination. I think comparing it to the other is kind of what makes it spoil for me, because what I originally love about Alvin is his sort of Secret Service appeal, and he seems kind of like an elite officer. Whereas the red actually makes her seem more of like a royal guard, kind of reminding me of the royal guards from Star Wars. But something about it just seems more of like a marching band. Does that sound weird? Like, she looks like she would fit in a marching band. And it's not that I don't like it, I think it's very cute, and I do like that we got a color variant, but something about it just isn't really working for me. I'm a firm believer that you can still love something, but also be critical of it at the same time, so, you know. Next, we're gonna do a weird one, because this one we don't have. And the reason we don't have it is because it was produced in a pretty limited number, and it was just like a kit at first. I think it was just a model, which is why it doesn't look as great in some of the photos. Our boy Broad, he's a big old burly robot man, and we're gonna give him a B. He might be one of my most wanted Polynian right now, but let's go look at his design. While I think this looks really cool, and I love so much about this, in a different light, I guess it would be a way cooler figure to me, but as a Polynian, it doesn't really work because it's not really a Polynian. It's a big old mech, but the prospect of being able to do this with its parts is incredibly tempting. I want that so bad for this. Look how powerful she looks. Vanya would stand no chance. Just want to thank the people setting off fireworks. It is New Year's Eve. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here. I do like that his sunglasses pull over his eyes. That's pretty cute. That's what he looks like in the flesh, or the plastic rather. But still, so much about this is really cool, though I guess it doesn't fit really with the rest of them. Still, I want him, and I don't dislike the design, so that's why he gets a B. The fireworks are only gonna get worse, so I need to finish this video now. Okay, we're gonna do another really obvious one for me. Kelly. She gets an S. And some people will say, but you were so mean about the review to Kelly. No, really think about it. Pretty much everything negative I had to say about Kelly had to do with the production errors on the figure, and that's more of a problem with the manufacturing rather than the actual design. If anybody remembers, I was so in love with Kelly all the way up until her release. The first time I saw a picture of her, I was drooling. And now today, I'm so happy to have her, though it does suck that we got her at the capacity that we did. Still though, the design was what really attracted me to this, and what I see here even now in these photos is still so alluring. I wish that what I had looked like this, because these production photos are gorgeous of her. She's awesome. The blonde hair, the weaponry she comes with, the fact that she had a new skirt, she had stockings with garters, which was like, oh my god. She has like those little weird underwear things. The shirt is a really cute addition to her top. Everything here just works so well. I really love this design so damn much, and nobody will ever convince me that she isn't awesome. With or without her tie, with or without her hat, Kelly's a bad mama. She's one of the all-time greats, one of the GOATs. But you know who else looks pretty awesome? Mega Boy looks pretty awesome. His name is Clay, but I saw him listed as like Holsukude or something like that. I don't know, his name looks weird on the listing, but Clay is what I'm gonna call him, or Mega Boy. He's gonna get an A. As far as boy Polynians go, we don't get a ton of them. So when we do get one, we gotta cherish it. And what I'll say about Clay is that he's total badass. He looks like Mega Man. The blue and white combo is awesome. The highlight of that aquamarine is a great accent, and it goes with the rest of his color scheme. His black bodysuit beneath the armor looks super neat. I do like that. It's kind of borrowed from the Motoroids, but still, he seems completely like his own character. Everything here is really interesting. I love these new chunky boots and everything like that. He looks like a boy. He's got an arm cannon. He's got a dope knife. He's ready to go out on the road with one of the Motoroids at his side as if it was a sidekick, and he's ready to kick some ass. Look at that visor. He's ready to go full attack mode, full Polynian mode. And yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on this thing. He looks awesome. And of course, for all of us out there who like, well, I shouldn't say us, all of you guys out there who like your boys, there you go. Look at that. He's even got a pretty strong competition situation, if you know what I mean. Why do I do this to myself? He doesn't come with that many hands, but that's not the design. The design is really cute and cool. All right, we're gonna be mean again. Let's go back to something that I'm less fond of, and that is going to be Dreamy. Dreamy gets a D. Dreamy is maybe my least favorite color swap, and certainly not a great looking Polynian. Notice that my biggest problems so far have been with color swaps. The color swaps are incredibly problematic, especially look at that. Alvin only got the C, well, Ivy rather. That's not what we're here to talk about. Dreamy, while I do like the blonde hair, I don't like anything else. And maybe it's because I'm just not the biggest fan of pink on the characters, but it just looks out of place, especially with all the other colors. The blonde doesn't make much sense. The orange still doesn't make much sense. They keep really wanting to put orange in with her. I like the purple underwear, those are cute, but everything else just kind of clashes. The gray skin I felt like would look better with a white uniform, but the pink for me just really throws it off. The purple ribbon in her hair is kind of eh, and yeah, I just don't really like this one. The eye color is kind of nasty too compared with everything else. It just felt like they really just didn't know what they were doing with the colors here, and they just made something really random. And I personally think it's one of the worst looking ones. I probably gave her a better review, mainly because of the fact that the figure was so much better than Yume, but as it stands, she's boring. She's ugly. But ugly or not, the fireworks are still going, so let's go ahead and grab our next robot. Vania, old school, old uniform edition. We're gonna give her A. This figure is great, and the design on it is wonderful. I love this one mainly for colors, right? Because the purple hair surprisingly goes really well with the red and the blacks and grays. This one has a more cool theme, the cooler colors, with the grays and the navy blues and all that stuff. Looks great when it's accented by only a slight amount of that bright silver and that nice deep red. It's not a super gaudy, shiny cherry red. It's almost like a maroon in a way. The red underwear are a great accent, and everything here goes so well because those colors are accents rather than just being a mishmash of complementary colors or a mishmash of really like diverse colors. That just kind of makes it mixed up and messy, whereas this is still thematically very good while also just being on an awesome design like Vania. I don't know why it's called Old Uniform Edition. Either way, this does feel like its own character beside Vania, which is what I think I like about this the most, is that it does still seem to have its own identity as a different version of Vania, despite it being merely a color swap. But let's go ahead and do a weird one now, because I feel like a lot of people might have skipped this one, but our girl Marilyn, she's the submarine girl. She's going to get a B. I don't dislike this one in the slightest. So just hear me out here. I really love this one, but I feel like the colors are a bit boring. The fact that she goes from light blue to that dark blue for her swimsuit works in a way with all the white, and I do think it's good looking, but it's just a bit boring. I love the accents of orange. and all the white and everything like that goes really well with the blues. So don't get me wrong, this color combo works. It's just that for the majority of it, it's a little plain to me. We've got a lot of blue in our Polynians, and she came out pretty late. So once she did come out, I was excited to see this crazy new shape, but I wasn't as happy, I guess, once I got her in hand. With human legs or her giant arms or whatever it might be, she's a lot of fun to look at. She's certainly unique, if anything. And again, I don't dislike her. She has one of the better Robo Booties because she has Mel's swimsuit, but I don't know. I guess I just wanted something more. And let's talk about more, because Moguana is the name of her color variant. I don't know if that's supposed to be Morgana, even though the Japanese could make Morgana by Modugana, but let's not get into that. Moguana gets an A. And you're gonna say, what are you talking about? You just gave the original a lower score. Yeah, I did. So look, I think the colors somehow work a lot better with the orange and red. It's enough of a difference, though it still keeps the theme of the warmer colors. I think I just like warmer colors on some of these Polynians because they seem so rare, but everything about this just goes really, really well. It works super nicely. And again, the swimsuit is really good looking in red. I already love the swimsuit on the Polynians, but this one seems really crisp looking. I don't know if it's gonna look that good in person, but what I'm looking at now, that picture especially, is gorgeous. These colors are great, and I cannot wait to get her in hand because she looks so awesome. And I think there'd be a lot of fun mixing and matching the orange and blue parts to make a really cool mishmash. So listen, we're about to do something crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and take my boy Emir and throw him in S tier because he's awesome. You gotta get more boys up in those top tiers. I don't know if Shamrock really counts. He's kind of a weird exception to the rule. So yeah, Emir, he was one of our first boys to wear clothes, and he was one of our first boys beside the original Shamrock. And I gotta be honest, when he first came out, I didn't know if I was gonna like him. Then I got him in hand, and I really started to look at him, and I really appreciate Emir for what he is. And what he is a cute school lad. That's a weird description, but I don't know, but there's just something sweet and innocent and very adorable about him that I cannot say that I don't like. And the funny thing is that when he first came out, he wasn't that popular. He was one of the first ones that was readily available after launch, and for the longest time, he was not fetching anything on the secondhand market. And I even thought like, man, should I have not bought two of these? This was a bad idea. Later, they of course released the feminization parts, which I think were a really great addition to kind of give him more options, but as he was, I love him. His hair is super cute. I think he kind of looks like young Link in a way, and I don't know, I just really like him. The warm theme is also great. His colors work so well. The orange, the cream, and the brown all go so great together. He's just too cute. But speaking of too cute, let's go ahead and grab Pinkle here. Pinkle is an interesting one. The Motoroids are totally different in some way, but Pinkle here, she gets a C. And this is me being as mean as I can. Pinkle, while I like her design, is pink. And she's too pink. It looks great in person, and honestly, what I'm looking at right now doesn't look bad, but something about her is just, I don't know, too pink. It's too harsh to look at. Though contrasted with the black and white, I think it works really well. It's just not quite my cup of tea. Her design is wonderful. I really do like the Motoroids, but this one's just kind of funky. Again, this could be my lack of adoration for the color pink, but I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just being as harsh as I can because I know that I've been too nice to most of these. She does have a great Robo Booty. She's got one of the better ones. That black suit looks really sleek on the bottom section, and I think with or without the skirt, she looks awesome in shape, and it does really guide your eye, but it just doesn't quite hit home for me. And I know, someone out there is probably saying, stop being so biased just because you don't like pink. But again, I gave her a C, I didn't give her a D. Let's go ahead and do another weird one and end out the weird ones that have yet to release. This is Lily, I believe her name is. She's interesting, and I want her badly. And she's gonna get an A. Part of me thinks I'm a little too nice to her, but there's a lot here I like. Look, she's got a big chest. That is a benefit for a girl like this. She also has pretty large legs. She might be an FLL, but wearing the sort of Toho Reimu dress. She also has a tail, fox ears, and a killer staff. So much about this looks really dope. I think that's a shield on her arm as well. Also, those sandals are adorable. I'd love to see what they could do with this. And down the line, we could get a red one. I like the idea of these designs getting weirder. This one seeming more like a goddess is just really interesting to me. So we're getting down to the wire. So let's do Amy here, the green variant of Ymir. This one's okay, but it doesn't quite compare with Ymir. And I think I'm gonna put it in B. Now you might think that that's a drastic bump from Ymir, but hear me out. The colors. I did not expect to like this one as much as I did when I got it. This one focuses more on the female form, which is fine because the female form is actually really cute because he was already a girly boy, but the minty green and the fluorescent green and that sage green all go really well together, which is why it gets a B. It works so much better than you would imagine. And personally, I really found myself liking this one a lot more as I did it. It has a really cute faceplate here. I love that pose. So much about this is a lot of fun. But I guess the colors are just a little too different for me to really hop on board here. I feel like for this design, these colors are a little edgy in a way, and it doesn't quite fit for me. I know, I probably sound like an idiot, but who cares? I have also bought like 27 of these figures or more, so I have multiples of multiple ones, so I'm crazy for these things. All right, let's get it out of the way now. Gray Clover. She will get a C. I know, that's probably kind of mean. I'm putting all the color variants down at the bottom, but I don't know, something about this just doesn't work for me. I actually think they got the colors really right on this one. The monochromatic look of the black, the white, the gray, it all goes really well together on this one. Of all of the color variants, this is one of the better ones, in regards to gray flesh at least. But I don't know, something about it just doesn't hit with me. I think maybe the eyes kind of throw it off. Especially because they, again, don't match the little thing on its head. Maybe those are always supposed to be aquamarine, though. I don't know. It just seems like it's clashing a little bit. It looks a lot better in person, I'll say that, but it's certainly just a bit weaker. Now let's go back to an OG, because this girl was one of the first and one of the best. S tier. I love Mel. I actually gave Mel one of the first 10 out of 10s, and I think it holds up to this day. So much about Mel really is perfect. I love the shapes in her hair. I love the swimsuit. The dark blue looks great casted with the complementary orange, and the purple actually goes well that's in her little water blasters. The green window on the front matching her water blaster tanks and everything like that all works really well. Everything here complements one another. And just the design in and of itself is so cute. Plus, again, that swimsuit is one of the best robo booties around, and all the different things you can do with her different guns and stuff like that is really fun. She has so much going on in regards to design where your eye is, there it is, look at that. Your eye is absolutely guided down her form. Like seriously, with the shape of the hair being billowed out, and then, you know, you can just kind of really bounce back and forth, especially when she has some accessories on. She's great, I love her, and no one, look at that. No one is going to change my mind. Mel is a queen, a complete goddess. Now, speaking of OGs, let's take it back to the OG, Clover. Oh, what a wonderful beast she was. She started all of it with Shamrock, and I gotta be honest, I love her, but I'm not in love with her. She gets a B. I think she's a great design, don't get me wrong, but she's maybe just a little too boring. Like, the purple hair being reminiscent of the typical anime thing is nice. I like that this was a android anime girl, and it really speaks to both of those themes. But I guess comparing her side by side with Shamrock, who came out at the same time, Shamrock was so unique in the way that he was designed, especially as a boy and being what he looked like. She was just kind of plain when you considered everything. And even today, she's still pretty plain, but I'm not saying that B's a bad rating. Look at that, that's ridiculous. B's not a bad rating. She's still a wonderful Polynian, and I certainly think she fits in anybody's collection with the rest of them, but as time's gone on, she just seems a little too ordinary, I guess. but there's something comforting in that too. So that's why she still remains lovable. These fireworks are really making me mad, so I need to keep just trucking. Look, OG status, Shamrock, Gray Flesh, A tier. I really like the Gray Flesh Shamrock. See, look, who says that I can't like one of these? I love this one. This is great. The black, gray, and pretty much that's it, all works really well with this design. The gray joints are another accent to that, and it all works perfectly together. The blush in the cheeks is an awesome little touch too, because it's just that little bit of color and a little bit of color in the head. And yeah, I can't find anything bad to say about this one. The only thing that I could say bad is about the figure itself, but design-wise, this thing's great. He's awesome. Look at him. Look at that. This boy is just too much. Turns out I lied about there being no more concepts because Betty is our next one in line. Betty's an alternative color for Kelly, and they did this way too quickly, and I think it's because they realized they needed to fix Kelly. She gets a B tier. While I personally have no problem with this, I think coming off the heels of the original Kelly makes this seem a bit cheapened. But that shouldn't be why I give it this. Why I give it this is because I guess it's just not as great of a concept as the police officer, though I think somehow these colors in person could wind up working better for the figure. Betty here, of course, can benefit from Kelly's design, which is wonderful. And you know what? The more I look at her, a redhead with this sort of military kind of style of officer's regalia, and she's wearing white stockings, I guess we can assume, because of the garters are still attached, but there's no color in her legs. She might have just went up a letter. Honestly, it's just so hard to bet against these FLLs, especially when they're like this. But look, we moved her up to A. We got a lot in A. I love these figures too much. I think that's the problem. So let's go to one that I don't love as much. Shamrock in a bikini, Shamkini. I'm gonna be mean here and give it a C. Yeah, you heard me, a C. Now some of you might think I'm crazy because I gave it a high rating. I think it works great as a figure, but I don't know how much I like the design. I think specifically the bikini is just not that great looking. It's cute for what it is, but I just don't think that it works as well. It almost works worse than the sort of weird lingerie set they made. And I think it being sculpted onto the body was kind of just a nasty, I don't know, there's something I don't like about that. And the pink, again, I just don't think was the best color, though of course it was the most feminine thing they could think of to put on Shamrock to make him seem even more trap-like. I like the blonde hair, that's the one thing I really loved about this. And the faceplates are great. That stuff is great, but that's not really the bigger part of the design. The design is the outfit, and essentially it's just not that great, but it still gets a lot of strength for just being Shamrock, and that's probably why it's a C. I don't know, if it had different hair, if it wasn't Shamrock, maybe I would give it something more, because it just felt like a cheap way to repackage him. No pun intended. All right, it's getting late and I want to get this done, so we're gonna take Rusi and we're gonna throw them into B tier. And I know you're saying, whoa, calm down there, boy. You gave the regular Lucio a high rating. Personally, I just don't know if I prefer these colors. I think the colors actually work really well, which is why it still is in the B tier. I do like this one quite a bit. I think, surprisingly enough, the pink and yellow go together a lot better than you'd think, especially with the brown hair. And again, this is another color variant that seems like its own character, despite it being a color swap, and that's something that I really appreciate about these sorts of designs, or whatever I just said. And yeah, I don't know, this one's just cute. I had a lot of fun reviewing this one, but I will say one thing that drug it down was just how fan servicey it seemed at the package area. But still, it's cute. Both forms, male and female, are a lot of fun to pose around, and of course the water guns really help that along too. So I love this one. But now's the moment you've been waiting for, because we're about to put Bluelit, or Bleuet. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. The spelling's really weird. We're gonna call it Bluelit because that's easier. We're gonna throw Bluelit up in. It's a toss-up, but I will be mean because I feel like it's too... I'm gonna give this one a B, and I think that's fair. And part of me thinks I'm giving it a B because I just want to have less in the A tier, but let's look at her. B is not a bad rating. Let's remind you of that. I think Bluelit is actually really adorable. This one was a lot of fun, especially because it was just a better version of Pinkle. I like the blue, the white, and the gold accents. it all works really well. The colors are wonderful on this, especially because it's just basically another officer style, which I think works really well for some of these. And again, I really like the Motoroid design, so I can't really be too mean here. And the colors are wonderful, but I guess maybe those dead eyes just do seem a little bit less Polynian. Though, for the dead eyes, it still has quite a few cute plates that sort of give it a bit more personality. And it's really hard for me to not put her in A rank because I really like the colors on this one quite a bit more. You know, people are gonna start calling me a sucker because she's going in A rank. There's just too much good going on there. And again, like I say with guiding the eye, it works really well with her. I think she was designed with that in mind because she has so much to look at and it flows really well. But let's go ahead and get down to the last two who are supreme in their ranking, because I'm gonna go ahead and say that Polynian Vanya is one of the best of the best. And she goes up in S tier, S rank, because she's godly. Now, I gushed about her color variant, which I think is still really good, but this was the first time we saw her, and it didn't matter if she had short hair or long hair. I didn't even know she came with the ponytail at first, and I like both versions of this. Just, there's so much awesome uniqueness in this. Despite it being another schoolgirl, the black and red and white uniform works so well. It looks awesome casted against that white skin of hers. It's a great contrast, and all the warmer colors do go together really, really well. There's really no bad accents that clash with it. And the scarf, which is like those little wings on the back, is another awesome addition. I think being clear might have been a bad choice, especially because it doesn't match the neck, and the later version also didn't have any clear parts, but I can't hate this one for really anything. Whether it's those little things that come off of her gloves, those sort of fanned out parts, you can put those on her waist or on her arms. There's so much that you can do here. Those giant fists, which I've avoided talking about this whole time, are mainly one of the best things about her. But even with regular arms and hands, she's still totally adorable. Yellow pantsu with a red ribbon, very McDonald's, very American, and she's just so lovable. Look at her, she's so cute. Look at that. Seriously, anybody that wants to talk trash about Vanya, you'll have to see me behind the school with a hot dog and a hamster, if you know what I'm saying. And listen, we're down to the wire. Alvin, S tier. One of the best of the best. You might think I'm rushing, but no, he's just awesome. He's been one of my favorites for a long time, and it hit. I feel like while I was reviewing him, I was really, really loving this, but as time went on, every time I look at this thing, I just say to myself, this is such a good looking figure. And it's not even completely original, because the shoulders and arms and feet sort of things at the bottom are borrowed from the Motoroid as well. The midsection is original in the bottom half. The top is, of course, borrowing from the Motoroid as well. And yeah, but everything else here, the weapons, the little additional hover skirt, the hat, the stockings, so much about this is so nice, and the colors work so well. Black, white, gray, gold, and I guess maybe a hint of like a very dark navy that just still feels gray to me. The white accent in the hair, this is just perfect. Seriously, I can't say enough good things about him. I'll fight tooth and nail to say that he's one of the very best Polynian of them all. And despite him being a pretty boy, he doesn't seem too effeminate, despite both him and his female variant working incredibly well as their own things. You can put them side by side and say that they were just sort of twins that got into the same business, and it'd be really cool, and I think it works really well for them. And yeah, that's it. I love Alvin. And that's gonna do it, guys. Let's take a look at our final list here. Take a look and really revel in how much I hate color variants and how much I love such a different array of characters, despite there being a lot of warm colors at the very top of the page. Hey, but did you know that this template for this tier making list will be available on Tier Maker's website? So I'm gonna put that link below if you wanna take a look at it and make your own. Make sure to post those into the Discord, and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to go over what you guys think compared to what I think about these Polynians. Additionally, if you wanna buy any Polynians, why don't you use my referral link at the bottom for HobbyLink Japan? It costs you no extra, and anything that you spend through using that link will get a small portion of it commissioned to me so it can help the channel. If you want to see any reviews on these figures, I'm going to have a whole playlist worth of reviews that you can go through and find all the Polynians, because I'm the boy when it comes to Polynian reviews. Probably should have done that last segment in the full screen mode, but there was some stuff I said at the end that doesn't apply, because I started filming on New Year's Eve, was really hoping to get that up, but it didn't happen. So I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. I love you guys so much. And yeah, it's been another year. It's time to leave 2020 behind us and go forward into the future and have some fun. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to like the video if you liked it, comment, all that good stuff, subscribe, join the Discord, all the other stuff. Of course, it all applies. But mostly, let's just make 2021 an awesome year. I hope you had an awesome time if you were on break, or if you got to take any vacation, if you partied with your family or friends, whatever it might have been. I hope you had an awesome holiday season and all that good stuff. But now it's time to get back to the real world, and my real world is making videos for you guys. So let's keep this thing going. 2021 is going to be even better. Look, I love you guys, so let's get 2021 started right with a salute. Kingdom! Yeah! That was a good one. It felt good. It actually hurt, but I liked it. Oh, I'm a masochist. Yeah! Sorry. See you next time, Kingdom. Goodbye.